Do you know when they put the defender equipment in the game?
Yeah.
You remember that? And did you end up using it? I think we were about the same. Maybe you were just a couple ranks further in progression than I was when it came out.
I did because I had I had no problems using it because I've already been through the game.
Right. Interesting. So what I'm talking about, into my microphone about, is how it really pissed me off that they did this. But you have a different perspective on it, which is, hey, I played through this before. Like, I don't need to go through the item progression. It's not that exciting to me. So I'm just
Well,
gonna use this edge to kind of power through it. Is that about right?
I think part of it is they have the expansion coming out in a few weeks, and all the gear in the current game is going to be obsoleted pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, that's what I read. I read that basically the entry level Iceborne stuff is completely trivialized as all but the highest end game stuff from the current
Yeah.
game. Yeah. Now, Iceborne's already been released on a couple other platforms. Have you played it anywhere else?
I've not played it on console. I've been holding it off actually. But so and then since we started playing, I opted to just not even bother, even though it's been on sale. So.
Yeah, you're planning to play it on PC when it comes out?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be doing a PC only going forward.
Cool. Yeah, I'm
If
excited about
if
that.
if for nothing else, that the loading times are 100 times faster than console makes
Yeah,
all the difference to me.
I didn't have the experience of playing this on console, but I even like sitting there for like 3 or 4 seconds, which I occasionally do, it kind of makes me grind my teeth. I can't imagine sitting for console loading times.
No, it's like minutes sometimes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I was just kind of going over this whole way that Capcom, I feel like, cheapened my experience of the game by putting this defender gear in. And I ended up deciding to essentially ignore it because I never played the game. I didn't want to skip the early game item progression because if I skip the early game item progression, then suddenly, why am I killing these monsters if I don't need their shit? Like the whole core gameplay loop of get quest, kill monster, get loot, make gear gets kind of short circuited.
Yeah. I mean, I agree to a certain extent. Now it all depends on how soon the expansion will be coming out, right? I'm not even entirely sure. They haven't. I don't think they've announced a date. I think they just said January 2020.
Yeah, that's
Um,
all I've seen too.
because yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I would say when you're hunter rank 50 or so, or you start grinding Kulve Taroth, you're pretty much grinding more decorations than gear,
Right, and
right?
decorations
So
are like the gear mod system in the game, right?
yeah, so the gear itself's pretty quick to get, I would say overall. It's more getting the optimum decorations to min max your shit that is
Gotcha.
very RNG based, and that's where you kind of do a lot of the grinding.
Yeah, I was
Um,
talking to Will about that. He mentioned that the kind of best stuff in the game is a bit RNG heavy.
Yeah, they introduce Culture Off, which is like a raid kind of,
Uh-huh.
where up to 4 groups of 4 can participate to advance it. And at the end of the raid, after you kill them, you get like 8 to 12 items that are kind of RNG.
Uh-huh.
Um, so the gear itself's not RNG, but the items that you get from the unlocks are RNG, if that makes sense, right? So there's a set amount of weapons, but which weapon you get is kind of random.
Gotcha. Yeah,
So
well,
it's not like Borderlands or anything like that, but you have so many weapons you could potentially get from the raid, um, and some are obviously better than others.
sure. Well, that sounds in line with pretty much every experience I've had of raids in the past.
Yeah, and I think they're fixing it for Iceborne, where um, I've kind of looked into it, but not too much. Because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But
Yeah, right.
like you can the weapon you go into the hunt with, you're guaranteed to get a drop of that weapon. So it would help with the RNG a bit, I think.
Oh, so you can
But
narrow the parameters basically of
yeah,
the
exactly,
randomness.
exactly.
Right. Well, that makes
But they're
sense.
doing a lot of pretty radical changes with the weapon skills, I think, in Iceborne with the new patches coming.
With the weapon
Uh,
skills, you mean like rebalancing?
No, so they're gonna be called. I forget what they're called. They're like awakened weapons.
I've seen those on
So
Reddit.
so there's like a certain boss you have to hunt now. That's I don't know if it's been released yet. But he drops weapons that are quote unquote awakened that you grind to unlock the skills on those weapons, and you can customize what skills you want to unlock based off the materials you get from the monster. So you can kind of custom. So it seems like the end game would just be you get one of those awakened weapons and you customize it further, as opposed to having multiple weapons, because you probably don't have enough materials to go around.
Sure.
But I guess that kind of we'll have to see how it goes. But I don't even think that's even been released on console yet, so it's kind of up in the air.
Gotcha. So there's a weapon-based progression which kind of doesn't exist in the game as it is. That's kind of neat. Um, One of the things that's about Monster Hunter that's so fascinating to me is I'm always finding new avenues of progression that I wasn't aware would exist. Uh, like it just keeps coming at me. I feel like.
Yeah, it's a lot better as you get to endgame. I feel like the diversity in the weapons.
Uh-huh.
At the end game, it pretty much comes down to a high sharpness, high crit build is like the optimum set,
Right.
and
Because
there's only like one set of gear that really satisfies that. Maybe one or two sets.
interesting. So this is a ways off from me, but it sounds like basically the way that the encounters are designed right now, there's not a premium pace on anything else other than just pure damage efficiency.
Yeah, but that's if you try to be the guy that finishes a mission in like 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
You don't. There's no. You don't have to play that way, right? Like I usually work in a defensive skills just because I'm not like a fucking expert at the game, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
get hit from time to time.
Yeah, it's
But
like you don't want to drive a Formula One car, to work every day. You don't need you don't need to
right,
have the highest performance thing to do your basic daily stuff that you like, unless you're one of those people that really where the highest level of performance possible really matters.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
interesting
yeah. I
dynamic
don't.
though with having the internet where kind of those highest performance builds become a certain meta that communities form around.
Yeah, and I think they in Iceborne, I think they kind of shook up the meta pretty significantly. So those crit builds have been nerfed dramatically. Um, but I'm not completely 100% on board with what like the new meta is, or if there's multiple ways you can go. But
Okay.
I've stayed kind of outside of those discussions for the most part, other than just what I see through our Reddits or whatever.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. Well, hey man, this is actually pretty cool that you jumped in when you did. It was really interesting to hear your thoughts about the Defender gear and what kind of context it has in a greater progression. I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn my recording off
Yeah,
and
sure.
play some games.